Show. Living on the water is the only life we know. Yo, ho, ho, ho. It's time for the BOTW Show.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, Jeff.
Stephanie and I are sharing a microphone because we are joined by
Blake and Patrick of Round Island.
Would you guys introduce yourselves, please?
I'm Blake Ruddick of Round Island, as Stephanie said, and we live in Los Angeles when we're not here, and we have 2 dogs and boats that don't run.
And you are?
I'm Patrick Moore, and all the same things Blake said.
Do your boats run? Wait, you have the same boats.
We have the same boats. We have no boats.
Yeah.
All our boats are on land.
And I saw a picture today of something momentous happening.
Do you want to explain the picture?
I'll explain the picture. Yeah, we have 2 boats. We have a new boat to us, a Limestone, that has been a project boat. It was a Route 12 special, as we like to call it.
Oh, nice.
Bought it on the side of Route 12. It had been sitting there for months and months. We kept driving by it, going to Price Chopper, and eventually pulled in. And
That's how all the great relationships start.
yes.
Really is.
It was great. Failed the sea trial, all the good things. Got a great deal.
Better and better.
When we bought it too, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you got that one!" Everyone had seen it.
We've all been
it was the
looking at
talk of the town. Yeah.
Everyone knew it. Yeah,
Which meant everyone had also passed on it except for us.
correct. Yeah,
Good job. Well done.
They looked at us a little crazy when we asked the sea trial because they clearly had no idea if it would float. So we just switched the engine in our Limestone with the engine in our Hiliner, which was our previous boat. And the Hiliner, we repowered it when we got it. And the Limestone, we've replaced, I think, everything else mechanically in the boat besides the engine block itself. And we were still having problems. So we decided, let's do a surgical operation and switch the engine. So
The Hiliner engine ran great.
yeah,
Did you put a new? Is it a straight inboard or an inboard outboard?
it's an inboard outboard.
Did you put a new leg on the Limestone, or that was fine?
So the Limestone got the new-ish Hiliner engine and drive, and we just
and drive.
So we switched. We just put a new.
This is like all happening real time. We had it. We've had the Limestone for over a year without that, and it's gotten to the point where it is now getting the switcheroo.
The Hiliner is donating to its sibling.
Correct. Yeah, it's an empty shell.
Oh wow!
It's pretty sad because I have a strong emotional connection to that boat.
Yeah, a little bit ago, there was a comment that you would never sell the Hiliner.
Never. Yeah.
We've talked a lot about Highliners on this podcast.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, we are dedicated Highliner lovers. I'll speak for myself. Ugh, look at you. You're so
love this
judgy.
take. No,
I am
wanna hear
a
both sides.
dedicated Highliner lover. I absolutely.
Say it again. That was great. The way you said it. It's definitely getting sampled.
Highliner lover. Okay, they're really nice to look at. They ride really well. I love a Highliner. Like I really do.
They're quick. They're fun to drive. Yeah. I have.
So Stephanie may be a dedicated Highliner lover. I think they're nice. They're nice to look at. I thought they were a lot cooler than they were. I went for a ride in one. I was like, Rich's. I went for Rich Ross Masslers.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's all right.
Subscriber?
Julia listens to it all the time, but Rich like doesn't listen to it that much. And I'll tell him to his face. I'm like, all right, yeah, it's fine.
They have a very pretty Hiliner.
The aesthetics of it are all there. I agree. When those things are up on plane, that Ray Hunt V with the strakes along the bottom, like there's such a classic fiberglass deep V look to it when it's up on plane. I mean, I think I need to give Highliners another chance because I've only been in one. It could have been like not a great example. I don't know, but it looks great from the outside.
Yeah.
But yeah. But we did a whole episode talking about Highliners, all the Highliners in the Purcell family, and then my wife Missy, the hot admin, basically said, "Who do I got up to get a Highliner?" Obviously, like one of the Purcells because they got a corner on the market.
They do, yeah. We bought ours from Purcell.
yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. There we go. So I don't think we covered. I mean, maybe it's obvious, but we're on Round Island today, but we're also
Cover that. We can say where we are.
I know, it's kind of something we're supposed to do. We only have like one tradition on this show. We usually say who's here and then we say where we are. So we are on the channel side of Round Island. Do you guys want to tell us a little bit about this lovely house we're sitting in?
Yeah, so we are on the channel side of Round Island, as you said. We're in a 4-bedroom cottage, and we've lived here for almost 3 years.
2 years.
2 years. Getting that right.
It's a cool place.
It's a cool place. It's from 1910, I believe. We're trying to restore the fireplace to get that working now that we're getting into the late season, but the chimney sweep won't call me back. So getting ghosted by the chimney sweep.
I saw an ad on the side of the road in Alex Bay. I'll send you the number. Okay.
Great.
We'll work together
Looking
on
for
this.
all chimney sweep.
This is how we do it. Yeah. We work together. Yeah. We're going to
Shout
co-op
out.
this thing. It's going to be great.
Cool.
We have to name this house, unlike many of the cottages on this island. There's not a name.
Oh, heavy.
The name, there is a name. So when we walk around, everyone refers to it as the owners from 2 ownings ago, the Mulder Cottage, which is lovely, but we don't know if we want to take on their name or if we need to put our own
I
name
think
on
you can do better.
We can do
Yes.
better. Yeah.
Okay. Are we doing that
When
today on
this-
the show?
We
Is
might-
that what we're
we might
doing?
do that.
Yes,
Okay.
but no, but we're interested in your thoughts overall about naming approaches and like as also related to boats. And,
I think-
because like we have a general dispute of like, does the name choose you or do you choose the name? And I feel like
I
that's
know Jeff wants in on this one. I'm
Yeah.
just going to
So,
go ahead and
let's get there.
I'm going to front load it by saying I think naming boats it's not my thing. I don't like to do it. And then I'm going to let Jeff talk.
Stephanie refuses to name boats, thinks naming boats is like bougie, and the only acceptable boat naming is if the name chooses you, right?
I agree.
Like if you name your own boat, you are lame. But if somebody else names your boat, maybe that works.
Great.
Yeah.
Please
So
name our boat.
What are your
What?
thoughts, Jeff?
I like boat names. Cottage names, I'm a little like, but that's like my reverse snobbery. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, I've got to hang up on like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I live in like Stonehenge.
See, we have a post office on this island, and there's a little community room museum attached to it. And a new addition this year is a binder that has every cottage, all 52 of them, a picture of them, and then you're supposed like each one has a name, and ours doesn't have a name.
It just makes me want to roll my eyes like a lot.
Well, the problem is like
I can feel the eye roll happening.
regardless of whether we want a name, it's like people just talk at us, like saying like you live in the Mulder. Like people like tell us we have a name.
I have to say on the way up here from the dock, I was telling Jeff about the moment where some lovely friendly neighbors were kind of rock splaining to you.
Yes.
To you about how this is I don't know, Sunset. I'm just
Sunset Rock,
guessing
yes,
it was called
yes,
Sunset Rock
yes,
because
that's right.
every single island has one. And
Yes.
again with the eye roll. But anyway, it's totally fine. It's just like, there's sometimes history is really charming and interesting and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I do think that if you come up, I think if I were to come up with a name, it would be like the most obnoxious sunsetty blah blah. So I'll just ruminate on that while you guys are talking about boats.
Okay. So on this house, we have a dock and we cannot change the dock. But it is an awesome dock.
It's a good dock.
It gets really deep really quick off the
Yep.
dock. And we have a concrete dock, which I, as like a layer outer on the dock, love.
Oh.
Love the
An
concrete
important
dock.
note: it is not just a concrete top; it is poured concrete to the river floor.
Which
Are you
cannot
kidding
do
me?
anything.
Yeah.
It's so just to describe it, it's a big U-shaped dock. There is like basically dock along the rock cliff shore that forms a U that is probably at least 20 feet across. And then there's a finger pier that comes out, and that's like 25, 30 feet.
Yeah.
And is there another U on the other? Is there another U on the other side?
No. So
Okay.
I guess what I should say, like you probably could extend it if you had a lot of money, but like we are not in a position to extend it at
Right.
this time.
But the whole thing is solid concrete.
But the whole thing is solid
The
concrete,
little
except
the
for
10-foot extension
yeah.
at the end. That's like a pier dock, but most of it's solid concrete with
So you-
rebar in it.
You can get your like full on like lizard laying out in the sun. My
sure.
Yeah.
My kids call it lizarding when they like go find a warm rock and lay on it.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
It's really, really great. I love it, but it is limiting in the sense
is
of
like-
what boats you can have there or who can come over and like park at the dock or stuff like that.
This
If I had a time machine, if I could
is
do
a great
one
way
thing-
to
if I-
start every
if I could do
sentence,
one
by
thing
the
with a
way.
time
Yeah.
machine, I would go back to 1970 when the dock was built, and I would pay them whatever it would cost to make it 2 feet wider.
Just two. That's what I was going to say. Is
Just 2
a
feet.
big part of today's show is about the fact that the space between those two concrete chunks is not quite what one might need. So that it's a constraint. It's a piece of the puzzle, right?
So the two boats that we own, the Limestone and the Hiliner, which neither are in the water, but if they both were in the water, they could not fit side by side in the dock.
Mm-hmm. So important. Could I point something out? Have you guys thought about a nice little floater trunk?
Well, we get some wild weather here, and I don't know how that would work.
If you lose it, it's just going to come to my houseboat. So I think it's fine.
We have a pretty high dock, and we have waves that will break well over it and into the middle of the dock. I mean, we get 5-6 foot rollers.
What do you think about that?
Times of summer.
I'd have to look at it, but cool thing about a floating dock is it'll ride with those waves. So if it's not literally sitting out in them, it'll ride with them, right? Yeah. And so if the waves kind of like refract around the whole thing, because it's not just a dock, it's effectively a breakwater also. Mm-hmm. To your point that the waves are coming at it. So the side of Round Island that we're on, and in particular the sort of arc of Round Island that we're on, faces out into a wide part of the river. We're not facing straight into the prevailing wind direction, but close enough. And so the waves that are rolling down the river are rolling past here, and they get probably tripped up on the front corner of this dock and break over it.
All of our neighbors here, the same thing. They're like, many of them have these solid concrete docks that were built 50 years ago, and they've got steel breakwaters on the outside of them. No one has a floating dock, which is suspect. Gives us a sense we probably shouldn't do it ourselves.
Well, I want to go back to the fact that you have two boats that you love dearly.
Yes.
But you can't have them.
Do we
have one boat we love dearly.
One boat. But you can't have them both at your dock at the same time. It's kind of like tragic.
When we were doing the Y chart earlier, one of the things that's challenging is we knew we had this constraint after we bought this house of dock space, and we had all these things we wanted to accomplish with a single boat, because we didn't see a world where we could get a boat of the size we wanted that would fit in with any other boat really at the docks. We're like, okay, our Hiliner, as much as we love it, just wasn't doing it all for us. And so we wanted more seating capacity. We wanted enough seats to seat as many people we can sleep in our cottage, right? And we wanted something super
very good.
Can handle rough weather and
all the things,
right? And so it needs to be this jack of all trades boat.
Yeah.
I don't believe such a thing exists.
Well, and you might be right, but I feel like this is the moment where we should mention that we have a segment on this show called the Boat Yenta, which we've only done once, but if people haven't guessed already, it's happening right now.
Sorry for the giveaway.
Oh no! I mean, it was sneaking up on us for a while there, but here we are. We are doing some boat yenting, and you guys have been game enough to say here are some of our parameters. Here are some of the things we're trying to accomplish. Here are some of our challenges, and it's time for us to help you try to figure out what not just the perfect boat, which is one challenge, but the perfect boats, right?
Yes, and I do believe that it is a combination.
It's always plural.
We believed we identified the correct boat, the perfect boat for this house and our lifestyle, and it very well may become that. Part of the problem is we bought a project boat, but it's been a sore subject for a year.
First of all, I want to ask Jeff a question. Jeff, could you please tell me some narrow boats that you know?
Older Eastern 24s, narrow.
Well, you have an Eastern, right?
She has a Seaway 19. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Older Seaways and Easterns, the older, longer ones are narrow. So the kicker is that at this point, most boats are made 8'6", which is the widest you can. Which is the widest you can tow over the road without a permit.
Right.
So that you're constrained effectively by the trailering regulations.
Yeah, it's 8 feet. Yeah, and the Limestone's 8'6".
So older because the Easterns and Seaways, so these down east boats that Steph and I are big fans of, they've just gotten wider and wider. Everything's gotten wider. Everything's 8'6" now.
Yeah.
If it's made after 2000, it's 8'6". Maybe 8 after 95 even. No, actually, my Seaway, my Eastern, which is actually a stretched Seaway, my Eastern 24 is a 2000. Other narrow boats are just about all of the mahogany runabouts.
Yeah,
they're all skinny. There's a really cool boat that was built by our friend Emmett Smith's dad, Everett, as a fiberglass reproduction of the original wooden number boats. Have you ever been to the Antique Boat Museum and seen number boats?
Yes.
So Emmett...
I think so.
It's white and long and has a big number on the side.
Yeah, right. White, long, big number on the boat. So it's a number boat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess Everett and some partners and Emmett as Emmett was younger, but they had the idea to actually get a mold made for this really cool, long, narrow, efficient speedboat and make them out of fiberglass and then finish them out looking, because they were painted originally, so it almost doesn't really matter what they're made of in terms of the aesthetics, but then finish them out with like nice decks and seats and all that stuff. And they made like 4 of them, I think. I went for a ride with them in one, and they put a rotary car engine in it, and it was like super quiet and smooth. So that's really narrow.
Yeah.
There are some whalers are narrow. Yep. Yeah. So like
old whalers.
Yeah. Pre-95 whalers, pre-Brunswick sail.
No, I'm not advocating for the whaler. I'm just saying.
No, that's on the list.
Pangas are narrow. So pangas are a Caribbean design that they're meant to be easily driven and go over the tops of waves. There are, what else would be narrow? There are some rigid hull inflatables that are actually pretty narrow.
Yeah, I'm into those.
Yeah, there's actually
in theory, I just like.
Yeah.
I just want like durability. I want to.
Yeah. Oh, I friggin' love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
Totally.
And they ride really well because you've got basically a narrow hard hull surrounded by like smooshy outside perimeter.
Totally. Yeah.
There's actually, I'll see if I can remember it and send it to you. But there's a guy on the West Coast who was an Olympic sailor, and he started importing these really narrow, efficient rigid hull inflatables as boats to basically coaching and race official boats. And like that's the kind of thing that you could find. I think I'm running out of other narrow boats, but I'll think about
Those
it.
are great ideas.
Yeah.
I think now it's time. I think we should move into the part where we talk to these guys about what their Y chart, which is I'm gonna do my best. Well, so what we're doing here is we're recreating something that your son Walker created, which is like here are the components that I'm thinking about in terms of what's the perfect boat, and we're giving them a percentage on a pie chart of how important they are. Right. So that's what we're doing here. And we've asked these guys to kind of weigh in with their criteria. Like we're talking about boating criteria. What's important to you? There's a lot of options. What's important to you and how important is it? How do you think we should play this out?
You kind of have like a TV announcer voice right now.
She was announcing the rule. Yeah, she was announcing the next phase of the show.
You sounded like, I don't know why I got to make it like shitty, but I am. What did you say?
You're going to feel horrible tomorrow.
I am. I say horrible things and then feel bad about it. That's what I do. I'm not a Virgo. Like I was like, whenever I go and listen to the BOTW show, I'm like, man, I'm a dick. I'm going to listen to this and be like, you're being a dick again. And every time you listen to this, you jackass, you say like, hey, don't be a dick to Steph. But then
you do it again.
Then I do it again.
I'm just drinking this delightful wine and having a lovely time.
Incredible.
Okay. So the Y chart, like it's a pie chart, but we're going to call it a Y chart. It's your boat Y chart. And it's not just boat, it's boating, right? Like it can be all things, and that makes it confusing and hard, but also entertaining. Who's going to go first?
Patrick has to go first.
Blake has to go.
Wait, before we go. Wait. Oh, I'm so excited. I have
No.
I'm sitting here with my hand up and I'm like stomping my feet on the ground. We're going to do a little bit of the dating game where you have to guess what's on the other person's chart.
Mine is so boring.
All right, Patrick, you have to guess something on Blake's chart.
Right.
Patrick,
I'm ready.
if I tell you 2 of Blake's criteria for boating, I want you to guess what percentages he gave. Okay,
wow.
No, I'm going to give you 2 criteria and the percentages, and you guess which is which. You ready?
I'm ready. What I'm not ready for is Blake guessing mine. So I took a very out there approach. I don't know.
Okay, wait, no. All right.
Stephanie's
we should have started. Sorry, just sidebar. That Blake has a lot more boat knowledge and expertise than I do. So
Yeah, that's great though. We love that.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah.
Like that's how we roll. Like
you are the star.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, like his probably makes more sense. But anyway, sorry.
No, but also like sometimes when you're like in the nitty gritty, you get a little too kind of detail oriented, and you're bringing like the total fresh perspective, right? So they both have their value, or else if they don't, then Jeff is going to kick me off of this podcast very soon, because that's definitely where I am on this.
I'm more interested in new boaters.
Okay, great.
Truly, like I'm more interested in new boaters across the board.
Great.
I'm just saying that you do know a lot of things, and I don't know much except how things feel to me. So we have we bring different perspectives. All right.
Am I the yang? I'm not responding.
Or the ebony? Is that where you're going? Are you going like ebony?
Yes, that's where I was going.
Okay. All right.
So I'm guessing the percent.
How about I read
or
all
something.
four
All
and
four.
you guess which percentages he gave those for?
Okay.
Okay. Ready? Remember when you used to surprise me with all the ditties back in the day? Now you can sit in silence with no knowledge. Seating and flexibility. Seating capacity and flexibility. I'll say it again. Got it? Seating capacity and flexibility.
Cool.
Classic lines. Wood detail. Timeless design. All of those things are getting kind of captured into the word classy.
He does like wood detail.
Next, durability. And finally, fits and dock. Okay.
I think that's a great boat name, actually.
Fits and dock.
the only thing the Limestone's good for.
We're going to buy classic lines, has wood, fits in dock.
I'm going to review these one more time, and then I want you to just tell me generally what you think about percent.
We had
okay.
seating flexibility,
Yes.
classic lines,
Seating
Yes.
capacity and flexibility.
seating capacity
One
and
category.
flexibility,
Important.
classic lines and
Classy.
wood.
Durability.
Durability and fits and dock.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go with,
Still funny.
I think fits and dock is like what is it? 30-30, 20-20 maybe? 30%.
You're remarkably close, I must say.
Okay. I was going to 30% fits and dock, 30% classic lines, 20% durability, 20% seating and flexibility.
This is amazing. I just wanted to say that you guys are like, you're 10% off out of 100.
Wow.
That is very accurate.
You know?
What was off? I'm curious.
Well, durability also got 30 and fits and dock got 10, which is amazing because if it doesn't fit in the dock, what are you going to do with it exactly? I
But,
don't
like,
understand.
We already bought a boat that doesn't fit in the dock. So clearly it wasn't a priority. Just, like impractical is.
I just thought
no,
now
no,
that would
babe.
be top of mind because we already made our mistake.
No.
I do think, I
Build a
mean,
new dock.
all right, that was very well done. Would you like to present? Would you like to help?
No.
All right,
ready.
Blake, are you ready?
Please be.
Are you- did you just say, please be kind to me? Is that what I heard? That's what I heard. Okay. No.
I'm so
It's
curious.
just not going to make sense.
No, I.
Dude, you just confirmed his worst fear. Patrick is sitting over there. He's pre-blushing.
I didn't think it would be.
No. He's pre-blushing, and then he's like, "Please be kind to me." And you threw your head back in laughter.
It's okay. I didn't know where this was
Because
going.
it's so good. That's why I laughed. It's so good. I feel like we need a different approach to this because this is amazing. This is perfectly done. All right, I'm going to go from the bottom. These are the criteria. You ready?
Yes.
Aesthetic. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
I know you are, but I was not ready, and now I'm ready.
Aesthetics was the first one.
Aesthetics. Doesn't spew fuel into the river.
Yeah, the Limestone does that.
The highlighter does that.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, in different ways. Yeah.
I mean, I just...
It's true. They do it different ways. Different ways.
I mean, that is
I
a
can
high
explain-
bar for a boat
I can
right
ex-
there.
I can
like
explain
you're
it as a
already,
high bar.
it's like you
It
can,
is
there's
a high
only
bar.
2 boats you can have now because that's a factor.
Yeah.
All right, so aesthetic doesn't spew fuel. You can see over the bow when seated. That's amazing.
Patrick is not short. He is of like moderate to tall height.
Important note: the Limestone does not plane.
Okay,
So
but this is
that's why.
but this is why we love new boaters. Very well said. When you're right, you're right. I mean, you're right. Okay, seating, absence of bucket seats. Specifically, no thank you. Patrick says no thank you to the bucket seat. And the next one is speedy.
Great.
And finally, my personal favorite, which made me laugh out loud when I started this, it runs. Woo! Man,
my
you
goodness.
really, that's some gold star shit right there. I'm going to tell you that. All right. So do you want me to run through it again so you can grab estimate some numbers?
Let's work through this together. It runs has to be on the top after our summer experience. So I've got to think that's like, how many are there? There's like 6?
6.
6, yeah. I've got to think there's like 30% for it runs. Okay. And then
Next.
what do we got next? What are the other 5?
Speedy.
That's low. That's like 10%. Okay, we got 40%.
Seating, absence of bucket seats.
10%.
Imagine that one's like 60%.
hates bucket seats. This is so much better than I thought it would be. See over the bow when seated.
Another 10%. So we've got. I lost track.
I love the attention to detail here. It's
30,
so good.
10, 10, 10. We're at 60% with 3 more to go.
Doesn't spew fuel. Thoughts and ideas on that?
I don't know if we're gonna add up to 100% here, but I would say that he values that twice as much as the buckets.
Would you like some scratches, some scratch paper?
Software engineer here can't.
Would you like? Like? Here's some scratch paper for you.
Great. I think we're good. How many more do we have?
Only one more after that.
Yes.
Okay. Last
10%.
Aesthetic.
Oh shit! Should have worked backwards on that one. I feel like that's a 20 to 30%er for you.
I would say that to be fair, Patrick's criteria were way more complicated than yours.
Way more complicated.
And also they really speak to you. I mean, I can feel your thoughts and feelings coming through in these criteria. I love it so much. Here's what we've got. You ready?
Yes.
Runs, 45%.
Yeah, great.
You were close on that one.
Yeah,
you were close.
yeah.
You were like, it's going to be big. You were right. Speedy, 25%.
What?
I know.
I know. Secret.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Now you know.
Shocking.
Seating / absence of bucket seats. You guessed 10.
Yeah.
It's 5.
5.
You were close.
Yeah.
Nice to have.
Ability to see over the bow when seated. I love this one so much. It was only 5, but it's there. It's on the table. I feel like it's a very reasonable thing to ask for in your boat. And then we have doesn't spew fuel. Also 5.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You hate that.
I really do.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's only 2 boats out there that wouldn't have.
Right,
Like I'm just
there's
like
only 2.
it's not
electric
really.
boat.
So basically,
Yeah.
you're saying you just don't want a boat.
Yeah, like paddle. I don't know.
And then finally, we have aesthetic at 10.
Wow.
I know.
I thought I said it could be a lot higher.
Is that more than 100%?
I think it's 100. But your listeners can let us know.
Yes, listeners, we're gonna need you're gonna need to do the math, listeners. So anybody that's a mathy,
General proportions.
yes. I want to just go back to. I want to really understand one of these criteria: fuel spewing.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that both the Limestone project and the Hiliner like Heartthrob both spew fuel, but in different ways.
Yes.
Tell us how. I'd like actually, Patrick, since this is what you care about, Blake, I'm gonna like.
I actually don't know the Limestone to spew fuel. Like the Limestone is such a project that I have barely driven it, and when we have the last time we drove it, it was catching on fire. So I was like lower on the totem pole.
That's a special kind of fuel spewing when the fuel that's spewing is on fire.
It was an electrical fire.
Well, electrical fire.
Yeah. The Hiliner, so I don't actually know when the Limestone spews fuel, so Blake can comment on that. But the Hiliner spews fuel when you're filling it at the gas dock.
Oh,
But not when you're topping it off. It does that as well. That's normal. But it's funky. There's something like you can't fully depress the fuel thing as you're filling it. Like it has to be like 70% force.
Like you pull up the lever to like release the fuel from the gas
right.
station.
Like you can't. You have to. You
can't go like
you can't
full bore.
lock the
You
thing
can't.
in and let it go. You have to hold it.
It's like
there's some kind of pressure thing in it, and fuel just starts spewing off the back in the overflow.
It's disgusting. I feel like a
Yeah.
terrible
Really, like every
person.
time we fill up, we have to
apologize.
ask for the spray. It's
Like it never does this. Like I don't know why it's happening. Like,
Spicer.
And then the gas dock kids at Spicer's are like, "Wow, we know you.
Yes,
You were
they-
here
they do.
2 days
They do
ago."
know us, yeah.
Julia and Lee.
Yeah. The Limestone is more expected, I think. It's our first carbureted boat. And when it's cold, you do the like throttle, like, revving it before you start it. And there's like excess fuel or whatever. And it just spits it out the back. And you look out, it's just floating on the surface.
Oh, that's really unburnt.
Yeah.
and that's where we swim. That's in our dock.
And where we pump our water that we drink.
Yeah. So having a great time.
Yes. Downriver of the pump. But yeah.
I'm surprised that's like 45% runs, but also runs and spewing fuel are interrelated. Those two are.
The fuel floats on the top and the water pump is 10 feet down. So.
Sounds like you've been working this.
He knows science.
You'd be like, so the fuel spewing thing, like you said a minute ago, that at the end, so when you fill a boat up, there's a vent, there's a fuel fill port that's on top of the deck. Just like when you're in a car, you open the little door up, you unscrew the cap, and you stick the gas pump in. You're using the same kind of gas nozzle pump thing that you do at a gas station for your car. Mm-hmm. But you stick that in the deck, and there's a tube that goes down and then turns and goes under the deck and into the fuel tank, which is typically like under the floor of the boat. The fuel backs up that tube and then is supposed to shut off the gas when it gets to the little handly nozzly thing. There's a little vent which typically a little bit of gas spews out. So that's what you're talking about. Like that's what it's supposed to happen. Like that's normal. You still feel bad about it. There's a little bit of gas on the water. It evaporates, doesn't go anywhere else, doesn't like oil up the ducts or anything. Everybody calm down. This thing, like you have to very, very carefully calibrate how squeezy you get on that gas handle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't know why. It's always been that way.
We're also paying for that gas.
That's floating off. That's floating down the river.
Point, yeah.
The fill tube could have like a kink in it.
Yeah.
Or it could, this is the limestone or the Hiliner?
Hiliner.
Yeah.
Okay. It could have a kink in it. It could be too narrow. It could be something like that. And it's possible to replace those tubes. It's definitely a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But
Well, there's no engine in it now, so there's
even better to do it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a green slate. Clean slate?
Clean slate.
Yeah.
Both work. Nice.
Yeah.
Stephanie's currently scoring the Y charts.
Not scoring.
You look like you are.
No, I've gone into a slightly different mode from scoring. I'm actually trying to put these two things together. And I have some good news and some bad news.
Okay.
I think you need more than one boat, which is not news to you. You guys already know this, right?
Yeah.
So I also think it's really interesting that Patrick does not care whether these boats fit at the dock.
Not on the list.
I really just want one working boat.
You want one working
No,
boat?
but everyone needs two boats. That's the thing.
Well,
everyone
needs 7 boats.
One needs to go to the shop at some point, you know?
You guys need more than one boat more than many others because you got 2 boats, but you only have one engine. Like,
No, the second engine's still there. The question is,
No, the second engine is not there.
It's there. It's there. We were gonna put it in the Hiliner.
You're such an optimist, Blake.
Yeah.
You're like this. No, the second engine. It could happen.
It's not happening.
Yeah, we're in the market.
There's no
for a third
world.
boat.
There's no world where the engine is happening.
So I personally like both of the boats you have, and the fact that they don't fit at your dock is handy because it means that we're gonna have to come up with something a little different, right? Something skinnier.
A third boat.
Yeah.
A third boat, but also you can't have all 3, right? Because they don't fit at the dock.
Whoa.
The Hiliner is going to be stored for a long time until we
Really?
have more docks. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
vision.
All right. Well.
I have a grand vision for the Hiliner that you could have a whole episode on potentially, but
Ooh.
she's going to be pretty. She's going to be an outboard.
Okay, so you're gonna do the bracket, go the bracket route. Okay. I want to, when I'm putting these two together, here's what I'm getting. You ready? You guys agree on, I'm going to say it runs and durability are related enough to put together. Do you guys agree with that? I mean, they're a little different.
Durability.
He's talking about metal boat.
I'm talking about physical durability.
Like you can crash it because our concrete dock and metal side is like a bit
Okay.
rougher than
All right.
wood.
So they're not the same thing. And also like durability also means you can bang that crazy day, but you're going to get to the head of grindstone anyway, right? That's what you meant it by durability. Yes. You're not going to.
Oh, you're putting words in his mouth.
No, it's both.
Okay.
It's both. Both are important. Right. Yeah.
So we've got it runs, durability, speedy, which I'm a big fan of this criteria. Speedy is good.
Patrick, I was watching him when that came out. He said, basically, it was a confession. This was something that I don't think had been discussed before.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
How speedy?
Well, basically we had the Hiliner first, and it's just a little bit more speedy than the Limestone.
A lot.
And the Limestone, I'm like, ugh, like gun it, come on, keep it moving. Because like probably y'all are like going to the head of Grindstone and going down to Alex Bay and doing the thing. And I'm like, I want to be there and I want to be there now. Like we only got so much daylight.
Because the Hiliner, so I don't know, the Limestone's pretty new to us. And so it took us a while to get to the point where we could actually go wide open throttle on it. It broke down a lot.
Where it wasn't spewing the fuel, it was actually
Or breaking
burning
the
it.
channel.
We finally got there this summer.
Burning on fire.
Wide open throttle, it like stopped out at like 3,200 RPM. Which,
That's not good.
Like that's like throttle's fully down. I was like very confused by that. It ran
Max.
beautifully.
Definitely max.
And that was like 30 miles an hour on a calm night. And the Hiliner, we can do like 5,000 plus wide open throttle. And on the GPS, it's gone like 55 miles an hour.
That could be the propeller.
Could be.
So there's a big relationship between the pitch of the propeller and the RPMs that the engine can get to. So if you were to, let's say it's a 22-inch pitch propeller, if you were to drop it to 21 or 19 even, you would get higher RPMs.
Wow.
You would lose top end speed, but it would get up and go faster. So it also could be related to the fact that the engine was just not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be.
Totally. Yeah. I'm like very curious now that the Hiliner engine's in the Limestone. Like tomorrow. Maybe we'll get on
Supposedly,
it.
yeah.
We'll see.
Do you think tomorrow you might actually be trying it out for whether or not
They
it's
said it might be ready tomorrow.
speedy?
No, I think they'll try it tomorrow.
They'll try it. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
the
This
boat
week,
about it.
sometime this week, maybe.
Are you tracking so far, Jeff? So we've got it runs, durability, speedy, absence of bucket seats. Well, no.
Is that classic lines? It might be.
I think
I
there's
agree,
a lot of I think I'm not actually, to be totally honest, I'm not sure any of your criteria line up.
No. Let's absence of bucket seats. What did bucket seats ever do to you, Patrick?
I don't know. We have it on the pontoon right now, and I just don't like it. I feel like
You're referring to a single person swivel seat.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like either it could look
captain's
like
chair.
two things. The captain's chair. It could look like a couple things. One, it looks like the pontoon, like big, comfy, lazy boy situation. The other use case or like version, I think, is like on like fishing boats. I feel like a lot of like fishing situations have that. My use case for the boat here is it's social, and I find the bucket seat antisocial,
Even if it swivels.
even if it swivels.
I was gonna say, can't you turn it around and face everybody?
I know, but it
Oh,
always
but
creates this
maybe not
dynamic
when
of
you're
like
driving.
someone's in the quote unquote captain's chair.
I
and
see what you're
everyone else
saying
is, like,
now. It's a
asleep
separation
on the, like-
issue. I
it's
see.
Yeah, it's like
The
a
line-
special
the-
treatment.
I wanna
Limestones
say-
have wide seats, and it's really nice. So you can squeeze two. And
Yeah.
all this, including the captains.
I also want to say that Jeff and I both believe strongly in seating layout and the vibe that it creates in a boat. And we talk about it all the time. And so we're totally on board with what you're going for here. Like,
Yes.
you want to feel like, I'll speak for myself. When one of the reasons I bought my boat is because we can all sit together and have a nice time while we're boating.
So good.
Like, the opposite of
Yes.
that is the center console vibe, where you're like, I have an enormous center
Horrific.
console and I'm standing up and I'm driving and everybody else is just like bouncing around like freaking like, marbles in the bottom of the boat and being miserable.
Well, is
But-
that a whaler?
yeah, and a lot of whalers can be like that, right? But like, I think, hold on.
Sorry.
You just let whales off easy. But go on.
Excited to hear more.
But back to this point of like, what kind of experience do you want to have? Do you want to have like, we are having a nice time together experience? Or are you like, I am driving this boat and once we stop, we can all hang out and have a nice time?
Totally.
And I'm a big fan. So I'm totally on board with this criteria. I really like it a lot. I have to say, I love all of your criteria. I love the sea over the bow. The sea over the bow, because this is another thing. The reason Jeff and I have down east boats, like the Eastern and the Seaway, is because we're so tired of getting on and off plane all the time. It's so annoying, right?
Yep.
You're going to get on plane and then here comes a really big wake and you really should get off plane.
Yes.
And then you have to plane again.
Yep.
And it's not the end of the world, but it's not a super pleasant dynamic
Yes.
of how to boat. And like, you look at the wave and you're like, it's coming. I wonder if I can get the angle just right so I don't have to slow down.
Right.
Or I'm not sure I can, but I'm just going to power through it. And everyone's just going to get a little spine compression, but it'll be over quickly. So you know what I mean? Like, there's this whole thing happening in your head, and like, and
No, this is a big deal. So when a boat goes on plane, there's a what's called bow rise. So the boat basically has to quote unquote climb on plane. And for deep V hulls, it takes a fair amount of speed for that to happen because the V is a less efficient, basically planing surface. So this bow rise and seeing over the boat when you're seated is a big deal. And the layout of boats sometimes is a big deal. Like maybe you could be comfortable while you're standing, but you don't just want to be standing.
right, exactly. I think this comes to me to a really, really important and interesting dynamic that I learned from being in Limons.
Yeah.
Because Limons are like more of a semi-planing hull. Is that right? Yeah. Semi-planing hull. So you don't have to pick your speed. You don't have to be like, I'm going fast, but I have to slow down. And then I have to work back to get up to my plane again.
Yeah.
You just kind of like, you can go whatever speed you want. You're not really on or off per se you pick whatever speed you want and you chug
Yes.
through it, which I found to be so much more of a wonderful experience.
Yes.
So that's why I ended up getting my Seaway, is because the
Yep.
down east hull, that's the experience that you're going to have.
That's how Limestones ride.
Yeah. Is that right?
That's my experience. They really do not get on plane, but the downside is they're kind of plowing the whole time, and so you're not really what Patrick's describing. If you're seated, you don't really see.
So your nose
the
is
bow
up?
clearly. The nose is up just enough that when you're seated in the front,
You can't really see in front of you. That's not the case with our our down east, is it? So we should do a little down east trial with our boats in the 20 minutes that we have left of summer, right?
Yes.
I've been in a couple Limestones and they weren't necessarily bow up dragging their butts.
Interesting.
So maybe your Limestone, when it has the right propeller and the right motor could actually fully get on plane and go.
Yes.
I mean, that engine could have been, sounds like that engine was really tired and was not doing its thing, but I have a feeling that you were quote unquote over-propped for the engine at least.
Yeah.
What the Hiliner engine, is it bigger, more horsepower, same?
It's the newer engine. It's direct injection. It's a 5 liter versus a 5.7, I think, that's in the Limestone, but I think it has the same horsepower. So
a newer 5 liter versus an older carbureted 5.7, which is the 5.7 is a small block Chevy probably.
Yeah.
The 5 liter, it could be that's got the same horsepower, maybe a different torque curve, but you really ought to ask or look into potentially a lower pitch prop. Figure out what pitch you have.
We did just take the outdrive from the Hiliner and put it on the Limestone, which will include the prop. So
yeah,
we'll
go look
that theory.
Go look at the stamp. Are you familiar with like the stampings on props to find pitch?
I know that they exist. I know nothing about them.
Yeah, you'll see like a number X a number, and so it could be like it's usually diameter and pitch. So you could find one that's like 14 by 19. So that's 14-inch diameter and 19-inch pitch. And pitch is the theoretical horizontal distance that the propeller would travel through the water if there were no slippage. Like if you're turning a screw into a piece of wood, like each turn of the screw would put the screw in 19 inches. Yeah.
My only experience with propellers is showing up like sad and hungover at the prop shop at Northern with a propeller and asking them to fix it.
Propellers that's the last thing people think of, but it's where it's the business end of this whole mess, right? Like that's where all the work happens. Yeah. And so we're at the river now, and I drove up from Philly yesterday, and there was a chaparral. I think it was on the phone with you. There was a chaparral, just like a regular old bow rider, probably 23 or something like that. And had a 4-blade aluminum prop on the back. And that is a deliberate choice. That is like, I want that propeller for this boat for specific reasons. And it's tough because like changing the prop on a boat is like, you don't want to do that. It's fine. You just want to go, but it can make a huge difference in how the boat performs. And so in some places when you buy a boat or you repower it, or like in some marinas, like they'll like check a bunch of different props to see which one runs your boat best. So that could be where are you having the work done? If you're Spicers, they might be willing to like try a couple different props.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah,
I really like that.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, Robin's a big metal prop girly because she gets better gas mileage with it. Is her?
I'm going to hand this right back to Jeff after that comment.
Okay. We've covered this at length in the show, but my son and I snorkel and now scuba dive a lot, and we have made a lot of money selling, for us, like all things considered, selling stainless steel props that we salvage from the bottom of the river. Because aluminum props are like the crumple zones in your car. They just shred and fall apart and absorb a bunch of energy when you hit the shoal.
Yep.
Stainless steel props transfer all the energy to the shaft and the lower unit, and then ultimately just like all of that falls apart, and then it's on the bottom of the river. And so I am not a fan of stainless steel unless you are 100% certain you ain't going to hit a rock.
Yeah. I don't think that would be us, but respect the choice.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I've heard not to have stainless steel props up here.
The aluminum props will flex more than stainless steel. So this gas miles thing has some legs. Like that's not wrong, right? The deflection of the propeller under load is less with stainless steel, which means that it will slip less through the water. So that theoretical pitch, right? It will achieve like 90% of that instead of, I don't know what an aluminum prop does, like 80% or 85 or something like that.
There might be a whole scheme here, which is stainless steel prop, hit a rock, file an insurance claim, and get a bigger engine.
Well, luckily it's now public information, not a podcast, so I think that's a great idea.
Nobody believes that electric fire was accidental.
Okay, back to the list here because we just covered C over the bow, which I think we covered planning and not planning and how well it does and all of that.
It was very helpful.
I do really think that the experience of not quite being able to get on plane all the time is not any fun. Let's all find a way to avoid that. Whether you do it with a down east hull where you don't have to, or maybe the Limestone where it's just not a planing hull in the same way, that kind of thing. I think personally, I spent my life on planing hulls and I just got so tired of going on and off plane. It's the river. There's wakes everywhere. There's, you know what I mean? There's just too much going on. Like you just don't want to live that way if you don't have to, right? I knew I was.
We need like a hydrofoil underneath the boat, and we just go right over. All
Okay,
the
well, neither of you put that on your criteria list, so I don't. I don't know why it's not here. Okay, so and then did we cover doesn't spew fuel? Did we? I think we covered that fairly.
I don't
well.
think there was any overlap in Blake's list. Of that,
There's zero overlap between the two of you. Absolutely zero. It's amazing. Although even I mean, he's got classy and you've got aesthetic, and I feel like we could put those together. Although I'd like to say that aesthetic got 10% for you.
Yeah, I
don't
just
care.
don't know. I don't think I'm like to me the seating. I don't even think I
The
rated it that
experience
high.
of being in is better than looking
like
at it from
it
the...
running and it like being fun and social is like the top of the list.
So
and
basically, you want to keep the pontoon boat that
Blake,
you're renting
I know
right now.
Blake has. No, I don't want the pontoon. I don't know. It's not the pontoon. Well, the pontoon doesn't fit in the dock, which was not on my list.
Okay,
But-
why?
Probably should have.
Well, it's
in
8.5
retrospect.
feet wide.
The other
point.
thing
That's a good
is
point.
it has no windshield.
Oh, it doesn't have a windshield. Okay, so
Which is the
You've
crossed
got,
out
You've
line.
got no enclosure. You've got no
Oh, yeah.
coverage. It's a fair
yeah.
weather boat.
I see it now. I see the scribbled
Also,
out.
Try landing that thing. The reason we have that boat is that the limestone just keeps breaking, and we, as Patrick mentioned, we had an electrical fire on the boat with friends.
Not funny, but so funny.
Twice, two times.
Oh my God, you guys, that's a great way to reduce the company load for next summer, I will say.
We had
There's a boat name in that.
I know. I'm like,
Or a cottage name.
we were
Electrical
going
fire
home.
is a great name for a cottage.
We were coming home from dinner at the Wellesley with friends, and we were coming back through Little Round and Round, and it's one of those like fold up, anchor lights or whatever on the windshield. And I think it's just been folded up and folded down too many times, and the lines have been kind of cut into. And suddenly it like goes out. Then I start smelling smoke and seeing smoke, and I'm just like smelling burning, and
and we're all like, "Are we gonna make it? Like,
so
we're
I'm
really
just, like,
close."
I just turn off all the switches in the panel. I'm like, okay, just like get us into the dock, and I literally I walked back down to the dock like an hour later to make sure the boat was like there, and on the bottom of
Not
the
burned
river.
to the ground.
So we dropped it at the
Which is like the dumbest electrical fire, to be clear. Like,
so dumb.
The lights that were there to keep you safe caught on fire.
Yes,
But you gave it a full hour before you walked back down to check on it. You're like, maybe this is the end.
I was ready.
We would've been fine with
I was
it.
insured, yeah. We went away for the weekend. We dropped it at the marina. They were waiting on parts to fix it. We came back and we went to like start it up, and I turned it on. The boat starts flaming again. Flaming's an extreme word, but smoking and burning. And because it wasn't just the light, but there was like something electrical behind the dash as well, like
That
where
was
the
also
panel is.
smoking.
That was also like shorted or whatever. So the dash was smoking.
it was smelly and smoky.
It was pretty good.
And
And
Which and
meanwhile,
this is the
the boat's-
limestone? This
Yeah.
is the one you decided to keep, just to be clear?
I was shocked. So
Meanwhile-
Blake, I was on a work. It was like a work day, and Blake was like trying to stress in what to do with the boats, and I didn't respond to his text, which was, "Hey, like, how do you feel about putting the Hiliner engine in the Limestone?" And then I didn't respond fast enough, so he was like, "We're doing it," and I was shocked because he loves the Limestone so much, and it is very reliable. And
He loves the highlighters.
he loves the Hiliner so much, and it is very reliable. And the Limestone, it's like this electrical fire is not solved by like switching the engine.
Oh, no.
So
It's not.
I have a lot of. I was very curious about this choice, and don't feel like it's the end for us.
I mean, I agree.
Okay.
I mean,
I just want to say at this juncture, this is a very complicated case.
yes.
It's complicated, you guys.
Which is why we've split it into like we
think
need
it's
two
like
boats.
I don't understand what's happening. Like
Okay.
you took the good boat and you put it in the bad boat, and neither boats don't fit
Well,
together.
I think we need to
and you guys also don't agree on anything that should be
Okay,
in your
you
boat.
went- we dig into one of the-
criteria, though.
Let's dig into one of the things we don't agree on, or like I don't know if we agree on it, but one of the things on Blake's list is like classic.
Yeah, the classic.
He really believes in buying a classic boat. Like people on the river love Limestone, they love Hiliner, they love what is the one that you talked about, the Boston Whaler.
Some people.
Some people, but it's like a name brand. The Lyman, it's just he's like name brand on the river, and it partially makes sense because it's like resale. Like people like know that they might like it's more known. People know they might want that, and I am like a little bit like, do we have to buy the thing that everyone else is buying? So I'm kind of curious your thoughts on that overall approach.
Well, this is what I think is interesting is that different people on the river like really different things. Like some people, like you, the people you first came here to hang out with. I'm looking at Blake right now.
Yes.
Like you came here to the head of Grindstone, and people there had these types of boats. I grew up here on the river with whalers, so I keep looking at whalers. Jeff came here later and didn't have this kind of background, so he was new to the whole thing. So he outside of the box, whatever. So I do, this is right back at it. It's like people like all kinds of things. Our friend Patrick Murphy, who we love, he's into a different vibe than we are. Totally.
He's really into like sound systems and very clean boats with great upholstery and big cushy. Like, I'm like, why aren't we into that? That sounds so nice.
Yeah. By the way, we're just going in every direction, but like tip for folks buying a project boat, we did it all wrong. The order of operations was completely wrong. We bought this project boat with like a crack in the hull, like failed the sea trial, all the things, right? What did we start with? Refinishing the entire gel coat on the hull. putting on new canvas, building a mahogany dash, electronics, stereo, nav, before we even started with the mechanical. Like we were just like, make it pretty.
But we
and now that's why we're feeling a little box in the corner.
No,
like, well, we have
but you
this
should,
gorgeous
though.
boat that we need to.
Oh, I see. You put a lot into the limestone. I see. I see. Yeah.
And it needs,
so that's part of why.
I see. Yeah.
We're deep in. Yeah, we're committed. There's no.
So can I ask a couple quick questions just to round this out a little? Like, how do you use your boat the most? 3 things. Give me 3 off the top. Obviously, you're on an island, so you're schlepping. Schlepping is 1.
Trash.
Schlepping is 1, but you can do that in any boat, including the pontoon. Schlepping is 1. How else do you like to use your boat the most?
I think when we have friends and family visiting, we like to go drop an anchor in a bay and just like picnic and jump off of it and swim. That's something we like to do.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Have food on the boat.
Food on the boat. Do you go slow when you do this or fast, or you never know? No, but I mean, like, to get there. Are you a slow cruising people? Yeah. Or are you a like hammer down, let's get to the back side of Endymion and then we'll drop anchor, or either one?
I think we slow cruise.
Okay.
Somewhere in the middle, but like
very important.
No, when we're going to anchor, we like
ready go.
And then we also do a separate activity, which is
slow cruising.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you guys do have a lot of company.
And I feel like the anchor is like related to are we swimming versus the slow cruise is just like.
So we know that we need a swim ladder no matter what. A good one.
Ladder.
Yes.
Swim ladder is important. Platform if you're lucky. Okay. And then, so you guys do have a lot of company.
Yeah, we need
right?
The boat should be able to seat like a dozen people.
A dozen people.
Or
taller.
At least 8 minimum. 8 is the minimum.
Because
12 is the
only because I've
ideal.
talked to you guys other times this summer. I know how much that you've talked about. You do have a lot of company, which is awesome. So you have a nice house. You got plenty of room for people, which is great. People are going to come and visit, and you want to take them out on the water and show them some stuff, right? So it's important. I don't know. Talk to me, Jeff.
Patrick, I like your point that when you're in the boat, you can't see it. And I also appreciate, Blake, that it needs to make you fluttery when you look at it, right? That's a big thing for me. Like, we came into an 82 Cobalt Deep V. Like, it's a 1-owner boat, perfect mint condition. And when I look at it, I'm like, I like it, but it doesn't like make me fluttery inside. And so it's turned out that my kids think this thing's amazing, and they're all boaters and they have friends, and it seats like 8 comfortably in bucket seats. Sorry, but
it's okay.
So the kicker here is this compromise between, and the Limestone's not a bad call. Like the compromise between, like, you want to take a crew out for a slow cruise or to hammer down to the bay where you want to anchor and swim and eat and drink. The Limestone's not a bad call. Like, how big is it? What length?
22 foot, and it can seat. We figure like 8 comfortably. 12 is the stretch. Like, you could like pack 12 into it if you wanted to.
You could put 12 into it as long as the Coast Guard like capacity plate says 12.
There's no Coast Guard capacity plate to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Someone removed.
I'm sure if there were, it would say 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could do a slow cruise with 12. You could get over to Eel Bay with 8. That's not a bad compromise. And I also get to Blake's like and effectively your introduction to the river was head of grindstone. Everybody up there has limestones. There's limestones.
Right.
It's Lousy with limestones up there.
Yeah.
That's the episode name right there. So there's like a bit of an identity to it when you look at it. You're like, oh, this is like, it's already nostalgia. Even though you didn't grow up here,
right.
It's already nostalgia, which means a lot to people when it comes to boats.
Yeah.
Sometimes cars. But bottom line, like, what you're describing is kind of a pontoon boat without any bucket seats.
No, but that is a limestone.
Oh.
So that the thing is like the problem is that our limestone came with a lot of issues and they have not yet been resolved, and it's unproven if they will ever be resolved. But like I feel like we felt like the limestone was the solution, and then the learning was the limestone and the Hiliner don't fit in the dock together, so the Hiliner needs to go into slumber, and we need like another companion boat. But we're still dealing with the limestone problems, and the question partially is like, if and when we ever get the limestone working, which hopefully it will, like, will we learn to love it? Because right now it's like the biggest thorn on our side.
You're going to have an end of season sea trial with the new motor and outdrive.
Yeah.
I think talking to Spicers about maybe trying a lower pitch prop would be good.
That's a really great tip.
But also because you don't care about theoretical top end, which is what high pitch gets you. High pitch gets you theoretical top end. Low pitch gets you up. Given a certain number of revolutions, the pitch basically is how much distance you'll travel at an RPM. So if you're at 3,000 RPMs with a 19-inch pitch prop, you won't go as far as you would with a 21-inch pitch prop. It's basically distance over time speed. So that's theoretical top end with pitch. A lower pitch prop will get you up on plane more easily. You could get a 4-blade, which will give you more lift in the stern, so it won't drag its butt, so it'll get the bow down.
Is 3 normal?
3 is like almost all boats have 3.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So 4 blades gives you more lift. It's lower pitch, more surface area. It lifts the ass end of the boat up. But I would not, in your minds, rule out, if not next year, then maybe the year after. Like, you've done the gel coat and the cushions and the mahogany and all this stuff. Put a big ass engine in that thing. Just get in the Limestone, get a big ass engine and a duo prop outdrive.
Wow.
So 2 counter rotating propellers. I had I fixed up I know. I said, see how far you can get with what you have, because you just want to have a boat that works.
For sure.
Correct.
Right? So like if you can get that,
it runs.
Yeah. If you can get that next summer, it's a lot better than where you are now, which is spewing fuel and catching fire and not working. Like let's just make
that's it.
Yeah.
Spewing fuel and not working.
And catching fire, right?
And catching fire.
So it's all about making it it's about making it less crappy. You're never going to get to ideal. Just make it less crappy. Maybe it's less crappy next summer, but look into like a bigger displacement motor with a duo prop. So a 2 counter rotating propeller outdrives, because those are meant to move heavy loads. And if you're going to be putting 8 or 12 people in this thing, it's going to have a lot going on. And so Limestones are built really well. They're heavy boats for their size. You put 8 plus people in it, it's even heavier.
Yeah.
I fixed up a Chris Craft Lancer that had been repowered with a really solid 5.7 liter based carbureted engine, but importantly a Volvo duo prop outdrive, and that thing just like lifted up. Very little bow rise for what it was. It lifted up and went. Yeah. So that's something to look into, and a lot of later model Limestones will have that duo prop on them.
Interesting.
Cool.
I mean, that's like money, which sucks.
Yeah.
But also, what's the second boat?
It said that Stephanie let the whaler down easy or something. I forget the words you used, and I was curious if you wanted to expand on that comment.
And importantly, our number one front runner for second boat right now is a 80s era 17-foot Montauk. So
like classic head of grindstone nostalgia seed that was planted in your brain early in your river time.
Yes.
I'm not going to say anything more about whalers.
How much time have you spent driving a whaler?
0.
No, that's not true.
No, okay. An hour.
No, our friends are currently selling a 22-foot Outrage, 80s Outrage.
That's enormous. That's a hot whaler.
Does not fit with the Limestone.
Beautiful whaler.
It doesn't fit in the dock.
No,
also, just to be clear, Patrick, not on your criteria list.
No.
But
I thought that was assumed.
Oh yeah,
that was like
this
at
is how
100.
criteria works.
Yeah.
Some of them you just assume that they're.
So sorry.
I don't nowhere. No, but I know about it's a hot whaler. I saw it the other day. Every time I see it, I'm just like, damn.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, I have a minute every time I see it.
Yeah.
I am, unlike Jeff, I am a whaler person. I love a whaler, but. Tell me how you're going to use that. Like, how are you going to use it? It's not going to take all your guests.
The 17-foot Montauk.
Yeah. How are you going to use it?
Yeah.
What's it going to do on the list here?
It fits in the dock.
Great point. It's a great point.
It's important. So before 2002, they were a foot narrower than they are
totally.
today. So it's like a 6-foot boat, and so it fits in the dock. But it's enough that you can put a back bench on it, so you could put 5 people on the boat, which is more often than not we don't have that many people at the house. It's just sometimes we need high capacity.
But also, if you have all the people, you're going to be in the Limestone, right?
Sure.
So that's okay.
Right.
It doesn't. Boats don't have to do the same things, right?
It's normally just us, and maybe if we have one bedroom full, we got couple people or something like that, you know? And it's like, it's grocery runs, it's trash runs, it's like running to friends' islands around here when it's not super stormy. Like, it's our like daily.
It's the Limestone on fire boat. Like,
it's also the backup boat, right?
Another excellent cottage
it's
name.
Given for like any second boat is like our when the Limestone is flaming. Yes. So like new engines, the idea, like outboard engine, new-ish, you know.
Okay, so
yeah.
I personally love a whaler. I do. I love a whaler. They're fun to drive, but they're more fun for the person driving than the person who's not driving.
Right. Yeah.
But that's okay.
We had a challenge with our.
But I think that might be a common use case for us. Is just like one of us is popping to town to go get groceries, or just us two are going. Like we're not like hosting friends or family that are like looking for a comfort experience. Like we're just like popping over to Grindstone or like to Bluff or Grinnell or whatever, and we're just visiting a friend or something. And it's not a all day. We're out on the river all day boat.
So
thing.
if it's a couple people standing, it's fun. But a couple shows ago, our younger demographic liaison, Jack, said it hurts your feet because it pounds so much. That's the kicker, right? Like it. And so our first boat as a family was the pre-Montauk model, the Nauset, which was about the same length, slightly different design. And we did what you're describing, old boat, new motor, and we had it rewired from scratch. Like it was super reliable. It was great. Missy and I were standing, the kids were bouncing around and they didn't care. And, I'm a fan of it. The challenge is there's an enthusiast market for it.
Totally.
And they are expensive for what they are.
Yeah.
And every year that passes, those whalers from that era are closer and closer to just being basically end of life.
Yeah.
So finding
while also somehow being more expensive.
While also being more expensive.
Prices are saying.
Because we're in a serious nostalgia window right now where everybody who was 14 when those whalers were hot now has a pile of disposable income because they're in their 50s or 60s and they're like, fuck it, I'm getting one of those. Right. And so that window is tough. I think a cool rigid hull inflatable with what you described down here, you've got metal clad concrete bouncing off of that with a rigid hull inflatable, which are way more durable than anybody thinks they are. Plus some of them have foam collars.
And it's basically a bumper for the Limestone.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? You bring the Limestone in and bounce off of that and land on the dock. Like,
or fender, sorry.
Yeah, fender. No, we don't care. Like Jay Nash cares very deeply if we call it a bumper or a fender, but like he's got a lot of baggage. So we'll just leave it at that. Okay, Jay. But I mean, I'm always telling people if you want effectively the use case of a whaler, get a smaller rigid hull inflatable because whalers are they're pretty light for their length and width. They're small. Like it's so hard to find a small boat now.
Yeah.
And so you don't need a ton of horsepower for them. The same holds for rigid hull inflatables.
I love that idea. I come back to the classy.
I know. I was going to say, are they classy? I don't think they're classy.
They're not classy.
But
maybe you don't need more than one classy boat.
What I was looking
okay,
at today,
question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fundraisers, as we know, here on the river. There's like the benefit, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We're rolling up in this boat that you just described, sold at Northern Marine. What is the perception of us?
Oh my God. I love that this is like, I'm so happy with how this whole episode is going because at the end of the day, the reason we wanted to make a pie chart is because we knew there was an infinite number of variables that there's no way the pie is tiny pieces.
I think it's kooky. Like I want to roll up in the inflatable boat, but like I think there's like a perception that might be frowned upon.
I love this. I love this so much. So, but obviously,
like I feel like I will never fit in the river, so I'm a little bit of like.
You're like, who gives a shit?
I'm just like, what is the kookiest like, yellow duck boat I can get into and like send me. Like
I know, I do. I feel you and I have the same boating style, but I also think like you already have. But you've got the Limestone.
Yes.
So you don't have. I mean, if you want to people to look askance,
when you're pulling into the fundraiser and your boat's on fire, they're gonna be like, like what's up with the guys from Fitz and Dock Cottage?
Fitz and Dock.
Fitz and Dock. Yes.
Oh, it's such a good name. Anyway.
all we do is talk about boats socially. So really, like, just rolling with our burning boat. It's a conversation.
You know what?
Like,
the way I'm looking around the river right now, have you seen the way everybody is like showing? It's like there's so much like boat fad going on. It was like everybody needs a Stanley, and now 2 years later, everybody needs an axolotl or whatever the fuck that thing is called.
Wow. Patrick,
like whatever that is. Like, oh my god, like it's just so annoying. Just start your own trend and get a rigid inflatable, and next year everybody will have those. I don't know, but I do think if it works for you, then who gives a shit? Or if you really do give a shit, then you can just take the Limestone.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But we also, like, compared to our original, like, roots here on Grindstone, like, we don't have to go very far to get to town. So, like, our secondary boat, like, has to go 1.5 miles through, like the roughest water is just coming out of our dock.
I know, but the other thing is that it is still important to you to be able to get to the head of Grindstone. Am I wrong?
Well, the Limestone.
You're right.
The Limestone's got it. Exactly.
Right.
So I think we've got,
so,
we're getting there.
I guess
we're getting close.
Part of the question is, like, do we trust that the Limestone will ever be It Works? Or does the secondary boat need to be the It Works boat?
You just took the motor out of the secondary It Works boat. So so I'm a big fan of having multiple boats because one's always broken. Maybe the storage, the put to bed for the future pimp plan of the Hiliner, like you could sort of flex on when you do that, right? Like you could get that thing, you could get that project going, and so that you would have that like closer to backup status for if the Limestone like really catches on fire this time.
Yeah.
I think you should. Listen, a Montauk is super fun. Do you follow Doc Deals on Instagram?
No.
Follow Doc Deals on Instagram because part of his mission is to like fight against the whaler price inflation. So he'll find a whaler that somebody's selling and they don't know what they have and they don't know about the whaler crazy people, right? And so he'll list these things and like they're out there. Like you can get a decent deal on one, especially in the fall. Like there's an arbitrage to this where you buy in the fall and sell in the spring, or you just buy in the fall.
Thank you for passing me the mic. I have nothing to say. No, I was just like resting. I do feel like we've made a lot of progress.
Sure.
I think it's also taken us 2 hours, which is interesting.
Yes.
We have like 7 more topics to do.
No, show.
This is the whole show. We're not going to do Boat of the Week.
Oh shit.
Even though there's
it?
a Formula Junior. So Boat of the Week just is like, it's just a little, people send us boats that they like and we choose which one is the best.
Great.
Like this or that vibes?
Yeah. But I think it's important for you guys to know that because sometimes Jeff and I disagree and then you guys are going to have to cast some sort of there could be a tiebreaker situation. And if you pass me my phone, that might be useful because, ready? Here's the song.
Stable asleep. Check out that vessel, baby, isn't she sweet? It's the boat of the week, the boat of the week. Ooh, how I love me, the boat of the week. Da 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 da. Hey, yeah, let's check out the boat of the week.
That was nice.
Did you like that?
It was real nice.
Yeah, was that soothing, relaxing? Mm-hmm. We have a lot to cover here. Not a lot. Go.
So first boat of the week from my friend Tucker, lives in San Francisco.
These are spotted or boats for sale? This is like,
it's sort of like very ambiguous.
Okay.
It doesn't
just
matter.
Wherever
really.
we see it, it just comes from. Okay,
so Tucker submits the Sea Legs Amphibious boat, which is effectively a rigid hull inflatable with like tricycle wheels that come down and you can drive it up on the beach.
I've seen these.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Next up is Trish Tags. I'm sorry. This is going to be tough to beat. 1966 Formula Junior, 17-foot 6-inch boat powered by a 383 stroker. It's a straight inboard, right? Yeah. It's not an IO. Oh, it's hot. It looks like a V. It must be a V drive.
How wide is she?
That'll fit in the dock.
That was a great question.
Yeah.
That was so well timed.
I'm all about actually like why you need a 17-foot whaler when you can have a 17-foot
Formula Junior.
Yeah, or Donzi or.
Yeah, we did not explore the like wooden classic boat category.
This is fiberglass.
Fiberglass. No, fiberglass is the
the
desired
the
vintage category.
Back to the like works. What else do we have, Stephanie? Oh, I think we should cover your Mako. Doc Deals listed a Mako center console, and you were strangely attracted to it.
What year is the Mako?
I want to just say that my friend Trish Tag has 2 boats that make me like need to fan myself, like, because I might fall down. They're so hot. And the first one is the XK19, which I don't know, we've covered on the boat on this show before. It's so beautiful. It's like a Chris Craft with a Formula engine. Hers has shag carpet and like leather bucket seats in it, and it's
incredible.
It's so amazing, and she just drives it around like what? And I was like, are you married? Because I was just like, it's like jaw droppingly, like I'm just like it makes me crazy. Anyway, she sent me a picture and said, I'm teaching my granddaughter to drive the boat today.
Wow.
Passing on the knowledge. She's got like a little, like, she looks like 7 or 8 year old, 9-year-old little granddaughter in the XK19. And then, and I'm like, great, that sounds amazing. And then she sends me this picture. She's like, also, we're taking this out of the garage and putting it in for her this afternoon. It's
incredible.
A Formula Junior. Do you see the seating? Can you see what the seating is doing?
It's like a wraparound.
Yes.
It's like a booth. It's like a diner booth.
Yes.
Incredible.
It's so good. It's a corner booth.
Just a little dead air in a podcast sometimes
Fabulous.
is completely necessary. Like, what? She's like, we just pulled this out of the garage. We're putting it in for the granddaughter this afternoon. I was like, wait. And I said to Jeff, and he was like, does she have a whole barn full of formulas? What's happening? Exactly. So that, I don't know. It's narrow. The seating is unbelievable. I have no idea whether it lights on fire or not when you don't want it to. It's aesthetic.
Yes.
That's classic line.
It's obviously classy. Yeah. Boom.
Wow. We're going to have to fight that granddaughter.
So no joke. Like, it's the same length. It would fit in the dock. It would get you around. You could get a whaler, or you could get something like that, and it probably wouldn't, like that with a reliable motor would not cost that much more than an old whaler with a new motor.
Yes,
this feels.
And I feel like if you had to let, I don't know if if the Limestone was sparking.
Sparky.
Then if you did show up at the fundraiser in this, like,
we'd probably just go to that anyway.
See, that's too fancy. They'll be asking for checks.
You can always say no. I work for it.
The kicker with these boats is that they're not that expensive and they're not that desirable, because the people who are into boats from that era are mostly into like wooden boats. They're really into the mahogany runabout.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily into that. Like,
you didn't fully commit. You were like, you went for the fiberglass.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
But that works for us.
Plus, like you could get it wrapped with some like seagull.
It looks pretty good to me.
Like you could get a full bird shit wrap on that, and they'd be like, oh my god, that boat's covered in bird shit. That's for anybody.
Parking in someone's boathouse with that.
So anyway,
so there's a Mako following this act.
Yeah, what's up with it?
You said it to me, you're like, I want this Mako.
Well, I did. I saw it and I was like,
console Mako, which is not your jam at all.
I know, except for when it is.
What tempted you? Like, what was the allure?
So I have a thing about Mako lines. I see a Mako and I zero right in on it. There's something, I don't know what it is because I don't have words for this sort of thing, but it's the way that it looks in the water. This is what we do. So I'm gonna explain it, and Jeff's gonna tell me what it's called. So when it's going, like it's the way the shape of the fiberglass goes like this, and then like this, kinda reverse shear. There you go. So like it's the shape in that way for me that the Makos are hot. They are just hot, and like I don't really want I don't really want to be the person driving the boat and nobody else is having fun, which is kind of a little bit like that, like it's the Montauk vibe maybe, and all the big center console thing. But maybe I do. Maybe I do actually just want to be driving. Sometimes I do want to. I like to go fast.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and
the Mako does that.
Yeah, it's going to be like a planing hull. It's going to be a ready go hull. And I love my boat that I have right now, which I should bring over and see just by chance if it fits in your boat.
Fit, I think.
You should.
It's
same with the 24-foot Eastern. We could have a dock fit.
Yeah,
thing. Dock fit. Good episode name.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's so obvious. I just think the Formula Junior is the winner. It's my
Formula
personal
Junior.
thought. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm going to abstain today and leave it. What?
Come on. You have one job.
like I kind of want to, like, the amphibious boat thing is very different, and I like different.
Talk more about it.
Well, you've got fold down tricycle wheels on your boat, so you can drive up the boat ramp and park it. Like, I just kind of like that.
Don't even need a dock.
No,
You don't need it up.
doesn't need to fit in the dock because
Wow.
Doesn't need to fit in the dog. I vote for it. Here we go.
Yeah.
oh, Steph just tore up the Y charts. Oh no!
We can pull it right up on the ramp on the backside of the ramp.
Yeah.
Drive it right up to the house.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you
it's
can
a Stanley that you can drive to the house. It's
and deploy the ramp. Also,
incredible.
Also,
pickup truck and Stanley in one. We need to build a Stanley with retractable wheels.
yeah.
Yes.
Also, then you've like completely scrambled the whole Round Island golf cart versus side by side 4-wheeler. Drive your boat around on Round Island like it needs a whole new.
Incredible.
The best part is we would have to drive it across the island because we don't live at a place where you could drive it straight to our house. You would have to like drive it to the loading ramp area,
Like-
and we would.
I
like-
just love all the drama this could create. I love
Like
it. I love it. I
cruise
love
past
it.
the tennis courts.
The gays with the amphibious boat. I just can't.
I don't think anyone would have an issue with it. I don't see what the issue is. I think it'd be great. Can you imagine?
Stephanie,
We could take it for a sea trial and a land trial. Sea trial
sea
and
trial
land
and
trial.
Oh my
The
god.
formula is not winning. The formula is not winning.
I love it. The amphibious.
The amphibious. What?
These are two different kinds, so they both win. Give me rules.
No.
I'm
have-
partial to the formula, I have to say.
Oh, we could put tricycle wheels on a formula. It's not going to go fast because they're down in the water. Actually, I don't know how that works. I didn't read the whole article. I was going to vote against the amphibious boat because it was submitted by Tucker and him, but
What's the deal? We can just text you boats that we come across and
you have
can
to
be entered for
you have to email them to
support.
theboatyshow@gmail.com, but nobody ever does that. So you could just also text or DM them.
Okay.
And like we might not get to them because we flake on who texted us what.
That's okay.
Yeah. So the formula is hot. It's hot. But
For kids, this whole episode is like what boat to get for your kids.
no, it's not.
All these things. I just think the fact that kids is super awesome.
The formula?
Yeah, the formula.
No, she was teaching the granddaughter to drive the XK19.
But it's still Formula Junior. She put it in the one.
Formula Junior for the kid. Nah. Look how excited they were to drive across Round Island and cause drama.
Leave the choice to them.
Okay. That's what I wanted to do in the first place.
Patrick,
Blake, go ahead.
I'm here for the amphibious boat.
I guess it's the amphibious boat.
No, Patrick.
I know it's really not. It's the formula for sure. But like,
All right.
but then we're just gonna be in the same place. It's gonna
Ladies
be
and
the
gentlemen, the
tiebreaker.
Formula Junior is your boat of the week.
Hey.
All right. That's been a really fun episode. We're going to wrap it up.
Thanks, y'all.
Oh, wait. I have a whole list of stuff that I want to talk about. We might need to make an extra episode just to catch up on all the stuff that we need to talk about. I want to acknowledge that the Boaty Show sponsored its very first race boat.
Hey.
And it was Scott Smith, who's a Boaty Show contributor and super fan. His son Liam, they went last weekend to the Crystal Lake stock outboard race boat regatta, and they both raced. And the Boaty Show, sponsored one of Liam's races. We covered his entry fee.
Incredible.
Because he put a sticker on his boat, and if he puts Boaty Show livery on his little race boat, he's due some consideration, which is our sponsorship. And so Scott actually sent a report. So I asked him how the race went. He sent a picture of Liam coming in from a race with a Boaty Show sticker prominently displayed. So it was an exciting weekend. Scott says, my 4 heats of sea stock runabout were uneventful, finished last all of them, but spent that time relearning the boat and course. Scott hadn't raced in a long, long time. I was way late to the start, 3 of 4 heats. Final heat, I got a good start and hung with the pack for a couple laps. Top speed is pretty good, but I lacked acceleration. This sport is all about how much fun can you have with as little money and horsepower as possible. So these boats are tiny little tiny little plywood like skiffs with like 20, 25 horse outboards on them that go 50, 60 miles an hour. And you wear Kevlar suits because they've got like stainless steel props that are razor sharp. So top speed is pretty good, but I lacked acceleration. Suspect better propeller selection might help. So call back to propeller selection. Huge deal. So much of what I've learned is so much of stock outboard racing is prop selection. Liam ran very well in A stock hydroplane, but got tangled up in a wake during his second heat and flipped his first unintentional exit. and this is like, actually, I think Scott is like a proud father in this moment. He's fine, but we had some engine issues following the rollover. We had awesome pit help as other racers came to his aid, and we had the wet engine running in about 11 minutes. And he has GoPro footage of the whole thing! ! One of the engine issues were we had out the spark plugs in we had the spark plugs in finger tight just to start the engine after getting the water out, but we never torqued them. Our 12-to-1 oil mix seeped past and the plugs weren't grounded, so he lost spark during his third heat. Easily remedied. He was down on speed during his third heat, and we found he must have hooked the throttle cable with his foot on the way out, and it wasn't getting full throttle. His black A-stock runabout ran okay, but the borrowed engine was tired because actually they caught an engine on fire when they were doing qualifications on Saturday. You guys know about that. And he was off the pace in that class. He did enjoy the ride, though, and wants to pursue the runabout ride next year. So we're pretty fired up about this. Fired up to have sponsored this kid racing. And that's the report from the Crystal Lake Regatta. And I kind of want to go race in that next year.
Incredible.
So that's it.
I just want to say this was a long, complicated, and very rewarding adventure talking about. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Thank you guys for having us. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. Watch the space.
Yo ho ho, that's it for the Boaty Show. Back the cooler, grab the lines, let's go, go, go. Yo ho ho ho.
That's it for the Boaty Show.
That's it for the Boaty Show.
Yeah, stay floaty. Woo!